Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are as passionate about pro wrestling as I am, then you've landed in the exact right place. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and join the Till We Make It tribe. Hit that subscribe button for me. Today's video was inspired by, of all things, a poll I happen to be conducting on the community tab of this YouTube channel. Yeah, there's a community tab, and yes, I sometimes run polls over there. And I conduct these polls not to source ideas for video topics, not necessarily, so much as to better understand what your wants, your needs, your tastes are, so that I can better tailor my video output to those exact things. It's always been my goal to provide you with the tools that you need to find success in pro wrestling, regardless of how you define success for yourself. And you do get to define it for yourself. But no matter what that means to you, you're going to need to have the tools at the right time for that to become real. If you don't get the tools the time that you need them, they're kind of worthless in my opinion. So, this poll asked the question, what seems to be the obstacle preventing you from building momentum in your wrestling career? And when I posted this, I had a pretty good feeling I knew where the votes were going to come in, and I was absolutely wrong about it. In fact, the one that won this poll was just thrown on. I tacked it on so there was a fourth option at the very bottom. Now, before we break that open, I do want to say, I think it's possible you and I have two very different definitions about what high quality photos and videos means. But that's a video for another time. Let's talk about getting the balance right. And by that I mean your pro wrestling life and your regular life. And granted, there probably are a lot of experts out there. There are probably books and podcasts about work-life balance, and I am not claiming to be an expert on this topic. However, based on the volume of response, the hundreds and hundreds of people that voted for this exact thing as a real pain point in their wrestling career, it made me realize, even though I don't think of myself as an expert, I need to share with you what's been working for me. And I do this knowing that exactly what works for me may not be exactly what works for you. But you might be able to take this idea, this formula, modify it, tweak it, play with it just a little bit, and come up with something that's going to give you a better quality of both lives. And if that happens for even one of you, then this video is worthwhile. What I want to share with you is my 3-step formula, which I abbreviate RCR. We'll break down what each of these means in just a second. But there's a key part to this we've got to go over first. Each of these, RCR, you aren't going to hope that they happen, because it will never work like that. You are going to actively schedule these, however it is that you maintain your schedule. So I have a calendar app that syncs to all of my devices. That's what runs my life. If it's not on that calendar, it doesn't make it onto my schedule. And you've got to schedule these things. You are going to actively block out time to do these. And then you've also got to fiercely protect those boundaries. If the moment something comes tumbling into your lap, you are willing to just discard what you have scheduled for yourself, things are going to get back out of balance. If you're trying to achieve a greater degree of balance between your wrestling life and your regular life, I need you to schedule for RCR, and then I need you to stick to that schedule no matter what. Okay, let me walk you through my formula. RCR. This first R is for recovery. And I chose that word very intentionally, no doubt because I was raised by a father who was in the Navy, and he associates rest with laziness, and there is nothing lazy about actively choosing to recover. When you come back off the road, you need time to recover, and you need to schedule this time. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that looks like for me when I come home and I'm finally off the road. If my first day back is a Monday, and my day on average is 16 hours long, I get up at 7 a.m., I'm going to bed at 11 p.m. I'm gonna block off in my calendar app at least half of that day, 8 hours, for recovery. And recovery to me means I'm going to take that morning at a very relaxed pace. I might get up, make myself a cup of coffee, and stay in my boxer shorts for the first 2 hours of the day. And then I'm going out for a full breakfast at the local Greasy Spoon because I don't want to clean up the dishes after I make eggs and bacon here. And that might look a little bit different for you. Nevertheless, I want you to choose to be in active recovery mode, which means you're gonna abstain from interfacing with anything in the world of wrestling. So that often means I am leaving my phone turned off. That way I am not tempted to reach for that device, to open up those social media apps for one of those fleeting dopamine hits from getting another like or another follow. I need to tune all of that out so I can be decompressing and recovering once I've come home. When I'm scheduling time for the recovery phase of RCR, I tend to block out a minimum of 8 hours for myself. The more you do this, you will discover maybe you need more, maybe you need less, but 8 hours is what works for me. And then I'm gonna move on to the second part of the formula, that's the C, and the C is connect. Before I break this one down, if you're getting something out of today's video, please give me just one tap of your finger and leave a like-a-palooza down below. Thank you for doing that. The C in RCR is connect, and this is the one I was bad at for years and years and years and maybe decades and years. I was really bad at connecting. There are two spheres that you're gonna start to connect with. One of them is in wrestling and one of them is out. These are your support networks. You need a support network in real life, your friends, your family, your people that are not in the business. And you need a support network in wrestling that's made up of 5 people. You need 5 people on this team. And you may know, I've already made an entire video about that exact thing. So stay tuned to the end of today's video, and I'm gonna link you to the video all about this. So maybe you're hearing this and you're thinking to yourself, Mike, what exactly does it mean to connect? I mean that you're gonna have real conversations with people in both of these spheres. Maybe you're gonna reach out to your coach or your mentor about a puzzling piece of feedback you got over the weekend and you just can't make sense of it. Maybe you're going to ring up your mom to let her know that you made it home from your road trip safe and sound. But you're gonna have real conversations with human beings in these two spheres without fishing for validation, affirmation, or compliments. You're not gonna call up your coach hoping that they're gonna tell you what a great job that you did over the weekend. That is not the purpose of this. You need to have real conversations where you are every bit as interested in the person that you were speaking to as they are in you. It's a two-way street. A one-way dialogue is not gonna help you recover that lost bit of balance. The process of connecting with the people in both of my spheres is typically what I block out Monday evening for. Monday evening is typically a great time to catch up with people in wrestling. And I use evening hours specifically because so many of the people in my personal sphere work regular 9-to-5 jobs. If I reach out to them at 1:30 in the afternoon, they're too busy to be chit-chatting away with me. The process of connecting with them in a meaningful way helps me to decompress from the time spent in the weird, wonderful world of wrestling and feel like I'm reestablishing a certain equilibrium. And for this, I often need half a day, if not more. Especially now, in the latter phases of my career, the connect phase often washes right over into my Tuesday as well as I continue to connect with all the very important people in both of my spheres. It helps me feel like a real person again. After I've spent time connecting with people in both of my spheres, I move on to the last part of my formula. The last R is recharge. I think of recovery as being essential to my physical health, and I think of connect as being essential to my social and emotional health, and I think of recharge as being essential to my creativity. I'm going to take in all kinds of stimuli which get my creative juices flowing, and I tend to avoid wrestling when I'm doing this. That is to say, I'm not watching wrestling. I might go to a movie, I might take in a live performance, I might stream a favorite drama of mine that I can binge watch, but I'm gonna block out at least half a day to recharge my creative batteries, and for me, that means I'm not watching pro wrestling. I appreciate that everybody's situation is different when it comes to working jobs, kids and family, etc. And I just wanted to share with you what has worked for me in recent years, hoping that some part of it will be helpful to you now. Maybe what I do is not at all what you're going to end up doing, but if it inspires you to start actively blocking out the time that you need to recover some of the lost balance, this is a step in the right direction. I spent so long getting this wrong, where it felt like my wrestling career was a snowball going down a mountain that just gobbled up everything in its path. And I know what that fear is. The feeling that I can't take time to recover. I can't take time to connect with the people in my regular life. I can't put that time aside to recharge my creative batteries because we have that anxiety that everybody else is somehow getting ahead of us. But please, if you take one thing away from today's video, let it be this. You cannot win at pro wrestling if you are losing at life. This bears repeating. You cannot win at pro wrestling, whatever that means to you, if you are losing at life. And to prevent that from happening, you must maintain some degree of balance between your wrestling life and your regular life. I hope today's video was helpful to you and it found you when you needed it. I promised a video all about the 5 people you need on your team. It's waiting for you right here. Go ahead and click on the video that's appearing on screen and it's going to take you right there. Also appearing on screen is a roll call of all my awesome patrons and a link which takes you to my Patreon page. If you'd like to be part of our community, I'd love to have you.